We have the NYPD Community Affairs Division now under new management. Take a listen.
And I'll faithfully discharge my duties
of the position of Chief of Community Affairs
Chief of Community Affairs
in the New York City Police
in
Department,
the New York City Police Department,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
All right, Chief Jeffrey Maddrey's career has spanned nearly 3 decades, and through it all, his desire to connect with the community was always his main and top priority. Chief Maddrey joins us this morning live. So good morning to you, Chief, and first off, big congratulations to you on your new position.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Chief, before we get into what you're going to do in your new position, I want to get your take as a new chief on the budget that passed last night, $1 billion in cuts. I know it's very early, but you are known for holding great events in the community like haunted houses to bring people together. So your overall reaction to the budget, and does this affect anything you want to do for community affairs?
It's a substantial amount was cut from the NYPD's budget yesterday. I don't know all the ramifications just yet. I have to be guided by the police commissioner and our management and budget unit. But when you lose that kind of money from any organization, I'm pretty sure there's going to be an impact. But we'll figure out a way how to continue to do things in the community. We'll continue a way to figure out how to connect.
Okay, and I want to get to some tense moments that we saw down at City Hall both yesterday and this morning between protesters and police. I want to ask you, since you are so vital to bringing communities together, how do you bring the two sides together in times like this when they're calling for $1 billion in cuts and then you guys are saying something different?
Well, right now we're faced with some difficult times, the worst I've seen in my almost 30 years in the police department. And I think it's ultimately going to come down to us having difficult conversations in the community, taking the first steps, approaching our communities, requesting to have these difficult conversations. We understand there's been, there's some fractured communities. We have communities that historically that we've had problems with. So we're going to have to, and that's part of my role. We're going to have to find ways to reach out to the community, to talk, to start these difficult conversations, and to begin the healing process.
You're beloved in Brooklyn. We had Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams on. We had City Public Advocate Jomani Williams on, all singing your praises. You were a commander in Brooklyn North, covering some of the city's most violent neighborhoods. So it's certainly going to take a lot, as you know, to heal the divide between the cops and the community. As we're hearing, the police commissioner told the press, told us yesterday on the morning show, he's giving you a clean slate to work with. So what does a clean slate look like for you and your plan? It's a loaded question.
Yeah, very loaded question. But a clean slate for me, to me means, looking at what we need in the city, going out into the communities, listening to the communities, hearing their needs, and making sure that the police department's a resource to that community. How can we, celebrate with the community values? How can we police in a way where the people feel confident in what we're doing and it's the things we want them to do? I've been talking to a lot of people, in the last 2 or 3 days since I took over this role, and even before that. There's a lot of challenges we have out there, and the people want us to address these challenges, but we have to address these challenges in a way where the community feel confident in what we're doing. We have to really take the time to listen to them, understand how they feel, and empathize with them.
Yeah.
They want to see some compassion from our police officers, and they want to know that their police officers are going to support them. And that's what my role is, to help bridge that gap.
Yeah. And Chief, how do you do that? There were the images of you which were powerful, taking a knee, and you address everybody saying, I don't agree with what happened to George Floyd. You're all of my brothers and sisters. How do you go about that conversation? Here's the image of you taking the knee. And what do you say to those who have problems with members of the NYPD and are having a hard time trusting?
Well, some of the things I did in Brooklyn North that were very successful, and I did it maybe a week ago. I had a member of the community who's actually a reverend, and he felt aggrieved by one of the members of one of the precincts. And we sat down and spoke, and we all spoke. The two men spoke like gentlemen, and they were able to shake hands and understand each other. And I know right then and there we built a relationship that'll be lasting a long time between that officer and that reverend. We have to continue to do things like that. We have to have the difficult conversations. We have to be honest in these conversations. We have to understand where we make mistakes and where we're at fault. Mm-hmm. And the community members have to do the same thing as well.
And that's a good point. I also want to address, because bringing the communities together also has to do with crime, right? And we're seeing a surge in crime. In fact, just last night, an 11-year-old boy was struck by a bullet in Brooklyn. That's the third time this week that a minor has been shot. So how do you see your unit helping bridge this gap in terms of getting guns off the street and bringing down crime as well in these communities?
And these three shootings of these these young people are the exact reason why we need to be collaborating and working together with our communities. We can't allow our children to be shot in our communities. The officers of this department, the people in the community, we have to start setting aside our differences and understanding each other more and finding ways to work better, because our young people are suffering right now. And I think we would all be irresponsible if we allowed that to happen. So we're going to have to start moving forward. We're going to have to start working together, and we have to save our young people.
And you've been out there, when we covered you being the commander of Brooklyn North, really helping guide some of the youth in the right direction as well. I want to get to the recruitment within the NYPD. Last week, I was meeting with Police Commissioner Shea, who said there was an issue recruiting African-American males in the department. How do you see yourself in the community affairs, being out in the community, restoring trust, but also bringing in some of those members and recruiting, especially African-American males?
Well, we have a recruitment unit, and I'll be collaborating with that recruitment unit to see if we can go to the right places, to everywhere in this city, to see where we can get young men, African-American young men, and show them how they could be so much effective and be a voice of reason and be part of the solution in policing and building the community police relationship. This is a great profession. A lot of people would say otherwise, but this is a great profession, and you can do a lot of meaningful things in this profession. And we have to make sure everybody understands that, and we have to make sure our young African-American males understand that as well.
Chief, I want to lighten things up a bit, because I know you said that the budget may affect some of the events, but you have been known to turn the ones and twos a bit, being a DJ. So can that program continue? Explain that a little bit.
That program will continue. I'm just a basement DJ. I'm not in the clubs or in parties.
Well, it looks like a club in your apartment there.
But that's my passion. It's a great way to bring communities together. Todd Taylor, retired detective, who's been doing it for years. He's taught many young men and women how to DJ. They've gone on to make livings, earn money through college, do a lot of great things. And it's just a great way for us to connect through music and through the art of DJing. So we will continue that. And I hope on a bigger scale now that I'm covering all 5 boroughs.
I am glad to hear that. You heard it here first here on PIX11. And real quick, you're not forgetting Brooklyn North, right? They love you there.
I love Brooklyn. I was born in Brookdale Hospital. I love Brooklyn North, but I love New York City, and I want to connect and reach out to all communities and just try my best to bring people together, bring the cops and the people of this great city together. That's the goal. Thank you.
It's a tough mission, but please come back and tell us how it's going along the way. I think those small conversations you have in the communities, they're important to hear. For those who are having the issues and having trouble, I think those important conversations need to be put out there. So we welcome you back anytime, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate you, and have a great morning. Thank you.
You too, Chief Maddrey.